digital delivery. Today's sessions are all going to be recorded, and so they will be made available as soon as possible. When we do the networking session, if you click on the networking button on the left of your screen, you'll be taken through to networking and matched up with the other people from this session. But now I'll pass over to Charlotte Sykes.
Good morning, Ashley. Thank you very much. You sound very cabin crew-esque. I love it. It's given us our clear instructions. We all know where we are. Good morning, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here this morning at the conference. We'll see the numbers. It's great. We've got 44 of us already in, so that's brilliant. We know that it's kicked off really, really well this morning. So my name's Charlotte Sykes. I run a business called CWR for Career Workshops and Recruitment. We've been going for 10 years, and we have always been split between careers coaching and recruitment. Our careers coaching is for individuals, schools, and businesses. Like everybody else, we have adapted. We have always delivered a little bit of stuff online, but over the last probably 18 months, but obviously mainly within the last 12 months, really ramped up our digital coaching. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be invited to come and talk to you about how we make this digital coaching effective. So I've got Tally from my team. Tally gives a wave. And also Ruth Forster, who is another CDI registered professional. Ruth runs a business called Wagstaff Recruitment and Careers Coaching. But Ruth and I have a joint venture called Be Career Confident. And Ruth's coming here today to talk as Be Career Confident because it is an online digital careers coaching offering that is delivered nationally. So Ruth, thank you very much also for joining the team today.
Morning.
I hope everyone can hear us. Join the chat box. We love interactive chat. We're not actually very used to just this talking at a group workshop. So please join us in the chat and add comments and questions. And I think there's also a poll that we'd love you to do. Just for picking up on Ashley's point, we will be going into breakout groups. You will need to go and choose that networking, but then you will also, after when the time blocks out, you will need to refine this session. So please come back afterwards, because that's where we're going to be putting into practice what we're discussing. So I'm going to kick off. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So I'm going to ask you all, please, pen and paper in hand, to draw yourself a wonderful stick person, please. Can everyone see that all right? Tally and Ruth, I'm relying on you to holler.
Yeah, all good.
My question to you, how do you feel currently about your digital offering? How do you feel? And what are you thinking? So around the head, what are you thinking about your offering? That can be, there's so many ideas and I don't know how to get on with it. That could be, I'm really creative, I just don't know how to put it into practice. It could be, I have no idea where to start. And what are you feeling? So just for a few minutes, I'm going to ask you to do that, and I'm going to stop sharing, come back. So hopefully everyone has got that image there. So what are you feeling? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Put them in the chat. Just for a few minutes, we're just going to have a bit of a reflection about that. Alex, that's fine. I hope you picked up. So draw yourself a nice stick person, then write on it what you're thinking and what you're feeling. So when you've got your thoughts, write them down. Tally, Ruth, obviously you two can join in as well. I will join in.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, excited, overwhelmed. How can I improve? How can I put it? Yeah, death by Zoom. Yeah. Yeah. I think all these things, fear of the unknown, concern about workflow. Yeah. Thank you, guys. These are great. Really, really good.
Mine also always used to be physically sick. Yeah. Just the nerves, when you pick up on people's nervousness, and it's how it affects you physically. Oh my goodness, what am I doing?
Yeah. Mine was the first live broadcast that I got asked to do for our local LEP, and it was terrifying.
Yeah.
Good.
It is amazing how it affects your body, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this is great. I think there's such a mixture, isn't there, of people saying really, really excited because they know the opportunities, just where to start, how to manage the costs, how to choose because there's almost too many, a lot of nervous because it's something new. So absolutely, you're in the right place. We're really, really thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much. And thank you for your comments. They are coming in so thick and fast. We will continue to read those as we go through the session. So I've actually challenged Ruth with this first little bit. I'm going to ask her a question because lots of you have said it, and I'm really pleased that you've picked up on that quite quickly, is for all of us who are practitioners and all of us in the careers coaching world, we want our practice to be meaningful, don't we? And we know how to do that face to face because we know in any situation we can create that environment. But how do we create that digitally? So Ruth, can you bring us on to that? So how do we make these digital experiences meaningful? And then we're going to start moving into techniques, platforms, and everything. But firstly, that meaningful bit, how do we get it?
Yeah. And there's two areas, isn't there? There's, how we do something meaningful on a one-to-one and how we do something meaningful in a group session. And I think the thing to remember as well, as overwhelming as it is for us as practitioners, it is just as overwhelming for the people coming into the session. Half of the time they're actually registering, especially on a group session, is that nervousness. So you might see people's cameras off and their sound off, because they don't know what to expect. So the first thing for me in both sessions is exactly what we would do in professional practice face-to-face, is set the scene. It goes back to when we think about, building those really effective working alliances, making sure that you're clear with the offering of what you're going to be there to do, and set the scene with the confidentiality, the safe space, and however you set that workshop or event up, you're very, very clear. And then you just build on that. The first bit is always, as we've all experienced here, the things that we're nervous about is actually what our customers and clients are nervous about as well. It's the unknown. We don't know what's coming. So as our job, if we set that scene really clearly, that can take that away, in my opinion. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's managing expectation and saying, this is what we're going to do. It might be different. We're going to have to work slightly harder in a slightly different way because of with the fact that we're doing something virtually. We're going to have to be a little bit, a little bit more open or a little bit more reflective and everything. It's a stage, isn't it? And we talk about it a lot, is when we're in front of people, we have to create more. So you two will laugh at me. I've started gesticulating a lot more because I do anyway, but you can't see it if I'm doing it down here. But on screen, I have had to raise it and change and adapt. So it's just saying to people, we're going to do this, but this is where we're going to have, there will be a slight change. What about on that one-to-one setting? How do you make that interaction meaningful?
I think, and I know this is going to come through in a lot of the stuff that we talk about, the camera can be good and bad. So giving somebody that time to still have a little bit of time on their own, switch your camera off, switch your sound off. So we're asking them to come in and be present straight away. That's what we really want to happen. But when you want them to have time to think and to slow down and to really be engaged with the event that you're doing on a one-to-one, or the coaching session that you're doing on a one-to-one, is being able to say, just switch your camera off, just switch your sound off, just enjoy your moment, take some time, and when you're ready, come back into the room. I think that's really effective.
I do too, and it's the space, and it's an enforced space, and actually taking I'm not looking at you. Before you had to either leave the room or you're still sitting there and they can still feel your presence, but that turning off is so effective. And that meaningful bit is we almost have to work on different senses, don't we, when we're on digitally. And on that one-to-one, as explaining, we need to build a rapport here, and I need to get an understanding of the situation. That doesn't need to be necessarily from what comes out of your mouth. Sometimes it might just be watching a behavior, setting a task and watching. But it's just adapting and being aware. Again, we do a slightly inflated version of what we would normally do. So Tammy, this question to you then. You do a lot within the schools and lots of chat here. You know, how do we making these relationships meaningful with students, whatever age, whether that's, you know, year 9 up, whether that's school, whether that's college age. And I know I'd love to, as we move slightly more into, I'm not sitting here by death by PowerPoint, folks, because lots of people are saying they can't see the screen, and I've listened to that. So we're going to have a little bit more discussion. Tally, school students.
So
what
I think
have you found in terms of platforms?
I think it's really important, firstly, just to remember it's not about the tool that you're using, it's about the content that you're delivering to the individual, and using an online tool that targets the audience that you're trying to coach. So for us, we do quite a lot, like Charlotte said, within the schools environment, and trying to use a platform that we know will get the highest engagement for that age category. So for us, we've certainly found that Instagram now usually just looks like an online photography platform, now has the facilities to do live chats, but also recorded coaching sessions that then can be accessible to those that perhaps couldn't make the session and can go and look at it back in their own time. Instagram TV is really good for that. So you can do it as a live session. You can have lots of participants, but also it gives you the facility to record it, and then it's accessible on your platform for future use. So if for any reason they didn't take something away from the session, or the student wants to go back and revisit something, they've got access to that throughout. And we've just found that's a really good platform for that age group, and also keeping that engagement, which is ultimately the main focus, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think another one
also Google Teams, obviously very similar to Zoom. Teams, Google Meetups used to be obviously Google Chats and Hangouts. Most students have a Gmail account now. It's really accessible if you've got a Gmail email account. It's not signing in with lots of different meeting IDs. Again, it's just accessible to all. So we've also found that's a really good one. Then just your stereotypical, which I know Ruth's going to go on to talk about in a minute.
I think that the Google Meets has been really good, interesting, hasn't it? And actually, as we've found over the last year, more and more kids just want to check something on their mobile phone. They don't want to be checking it on a computer because it feels too education heavy, it feels too work-like. And as they've been Microsoft Teams fatigued, Zoom fatigued, you know, actually sending them an email with a quick thing saying, log into the meeting, click here, that's it, it's up, it's on their phone, done. It's quick, it's easy and accessible, it's free. You know, you're not restricted on time. It's worked really, really well. Ruth, you've had a different experience, so potentially this is a nice opportunity to talk about the work that we've been doing digitally this year.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Somebody's just popped in the chat and saying that people are coming off social media about the England football squad, and saying they're all coming off social, and people are having a little bit of pushback about social. And I think the thing with the digital world is it will always evolve. So there'll be another platform, there'll be other things coming through, and it's about understanding your audience and what works with everybody. And I think Google, brilliant for, like you say, taking it away from Teams. I don't get on that well with Teams. That's a personal thing. Zoom has been a lot better for us and the work that we've done. Breakout groups have been great within Zoom, especially within group coaching, because that gives people that ability to break off and have some good conversation like you would normally have done in a coffee area, in a hotel, in a networking event where there's 4 of you just having a chat. So that's been really good. And for us, our delivery platform for what we've done on Be Career Confident, we've personally found Crowdcast really effective. And the reason we love Crowdcast is we can deliver live. So we go live 9:30 every Thursday morning. That's like clockwork. Every single Thursday, people know we're going to be live. People can interact with us. We don't see them. They can put what they want in the chat and ask questions, or they can just watch. We don't know they're there. and other people don't know they're there. So there's a confidentiality there, which I've noticed more, and it did surprise me on people that were maybe in the active job seeking market that didn't want to participate. And it comes back to this confidence and that first nervousness of, I don't know what people are going to think of me. I'm not comfortable, but they'll watch. The other thing that's really great is they can watch back afterwards. Yeah. So they're all up. So we started this back at the beginning of July last year. So from the beginning of July, we've got every single one that people can go to, which has been a great thing to be able to point people back to when a topic's come up in a coaching session. I was working with somebody last week, and we were talking about they felt like they'd lost their identity. So we'd got something because we'd done a session on it on professional identity, so we could push them back to it. There's content there, or people can just watch on their own and feel safe. And I think that's been a really big thing of this pandemic. I think people have felt quite vulnerable and they want to feel safe. So if we can provide a digital safe space with it, whichever platform it may be, then that's where you need to look at it and pitch at it. But for me, personal favourites have been Zoom and Crowdcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm reading people's comments saying yes, Teams. Schools seem to really, really like the Teams. Clubhouse again, which has come up, I think it's one that we're noticing again is fitting into that generation of people who want to potentially access it on a phone. And you need to think when you're inviting someone to a meeting or a coaching session or a group session, who's coming? Where are they going to be able to access this from? Where will they feel most comfortable? If you're doing a group with a classroom and they're all logging in, how are they going to do that? Are they going to be in one room when they come to that session? Are they going to be at home to that session, thinking about what's going to really, really, really work well? Teams, there is one advantage, obviously, is that you can upload documents to it and keep them there, so everybody can have their own file and you can see all their homework, or tasks or worksheets or whatever it is. So in the name of networking, we really want to use this as an opportunity for you to build your community. We want you to please, in just a moment, click into the networking group. You will be assigned a partner. We'll have 5 minutes just to discuss about what you're doing currently, what's working well, and what would work even better if. So even better if you can incorporate that. So just a 5-minute discussion, please. So when you're ready, please click on networking. It'll take you out, and we've got 5 minutes, and then we're going to be looking at techniques and things that we can actually put into our practice that work well. Again, addressing some of these questions about what we do with people who haven't got video. How do we get around that? Okay.
I've just seen a message about telephone one-to-one guidance, which obviously Charlotte and you and I are doing a lot at the moment, aren't we? Between for a lot of students that are from care backgrounds and don't necessarily have that internet at home. So we perhaps pick up on that when we get back as well.
So when you're ready, folks, click on networking, choose your group. It'll automatically assign you with somebody, and we will see you back here. Don't forget, once the networking's finished, to find the session again and come back in. And for those of you giggling, you can hear my dogs.
I was wondering whose it was.
I've shut 3 doors and locked myself in so you can't hear me.
Mine's at the vet.
Oh no. Right, I can see that people are slowly making yourself out. Make the use of this, folks. This is a really good time to build the community, enjoy the group and the professional network that we're given.
Oh, I like that comment from Christina. They've used Zoom, and when students click on the link, their attendance can be tracked.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. And the Clubhouse, obviously, the Clubhouse is only for iPhone users, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So it's not an iPhone person.
Oh, you're both Android, aren't you?
Yeah, I left iPhone in the world of Apple a few years ago.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting comment. Again, it's understanding what's appropriate for the person and saying, I think the ones that are less targeted like the Zooms, like the Google Meets, give the advantage the fact that you're not restricted to technology. You know, you're not restricted to Android or this or that or
inclusive. If I can say the word, it's more inclusive, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, some of the sessions that we've done on via telephone are just as successful and engaging as if we were on an
Absolutely, Callie.
Platform anyway.
Yeah. So
because you're actually getting, because actually they're more comfortable on the telephone, so you're getting more out of them.
Yeah. So for those of you who are still in the room, and I'm aware there's still about 20 of us who are in here, please use this as an opportunity to talk to us and networking. I think some people actually, Leanne, yeah, there you are, saying actually the video and audio. So you can't, can't do that. But take this as an opportunity to talk. We can discuss things. We've got just a few more minutes, and then everyone will start coming back in, and then we'll start looking at this. What can we use?
I'm just having a little scan through the chat.
It was very busy.
Catch up, yeah. I loved when we talked about how people were feeling. There was a quote, and I loved this. So which one?
Yeah, there was just a barrage.
No barrage, but somebody's put option paralysis.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's like when you go to the supermarket when you're hungry. That's my option paralysis.
Which
I'd call that something else for me, to be fair.
What option didn't we get on with Charlotte? Was it Skype business that we used with that job centre, and it was just a little bit tougher than normal, wasn't it?
Yeah, Skype used to be the leader, didn't it? You know, that was the only people that did everything. But I did one of my first, a year ago. We did Skype for a module at Warwick, and it didn't. No, it was just a bit clunky.
The one I think that I've struggled with most is WebEx, which actually
the Cisco phones one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's linked to the phones, and actually we do have Cisco phones. We did. We don't know actually now, do we, Tally? But it just didn't work. I think people are beginning to come back in by the looks of it.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, it is, Leanne, absolutely. And funny that's where I got it from a family member who was over there. So we'll see the numbers come back in. I think people are coming in and out of the networking. We're hoping now that most people have been on these conferences before, know the process of going into networking and coming back. So there's always a little bit of natural attrition that happens when we come back in, but hopefully people will come back in and we'll crack back on with it. So we'll just wait another minute and then we'll go.
I think the networking proved popular, Charlotte.
It did.
But people are still chatting.
I'm hoping. Actually, there was a timer. There we are. Here, people are coming back in. Actually, I think there was a timer on it, wasn't there?
Right, they should be coming back.
PDS didn't work in networking. Okay, I think there's a few people struggling a little bit with some of the tech.
I remember when we first did the breakout rooms on Zoom, and I was convinced I was just going to be left
in the middle of nowhere.
What am I doing? Who am I? And for any of you that have seen Charlotte and I on our Be Career Confident crowdcast, the one that is not great on technology is me. I'm the one that's going to get lost, probably cut somebody off. Tally, you're not supposed to nod in that much agreement with me.
It was me today, though.
Good. It's really nice seeing people saying really nice to talk to you. That's exactly what we wanted. We want to create a community here where we're all sharing ideas, sharing best practice, and that's what this session is today. And I think we'll carry on now. The numbers are trickling in, so we'll keep talking. So we need to talk about what techniques, and I am going to share my screen. I am going to put this up. It's just an image, but again, I like having images to look at. I think it allows people a break from just hearing from us. Look, it's a beautiful picture. It's a time of year, the bluebells are coming up, gives us the headspace, it allows us to focus on something else. So exercises and techniques, and we've just started talking about that, haven't we? I'm going to stop sharing. We've had our picture. Exercises and techniques that we can use as part of our practice. I can see a few people, I'm hoping, Ashley, that people haven't got paired with another session, so apologies. I don't think that was supposed to happen. We might need to look at that for other sessions. Techniques. Ones that we absolutely love, and that it's something that Tally and I have just started incorporating with a project that we're doing with youngsters, is sending a video introduction first. This is us. This is who we are. So we've gone one step further. Before it used to be a face, a picture, a bit of text, a profile, a link to our LinkedIn profile. But now it's a, hello, this is me. We're really excited about working with you. This is what the aims are going to be. And we found, and a few of you were talking about that engagement, is that's really, really helped from an engagement and from a trust point. Because again, folks, everybody's been struggling with this fatigue, meeting people online, all sorts. And if we can go in and say, don't worry, this is who we are. Tally and I might be in our CWR hoodies. We might be in our CWR polo shirts. We might just be in a check shirt and a pair of jeans, just to show that we are different in that capacity. And that's been a real benefit. So that's from the start. Another technique, and Ruth mentioned it quickly. I am a big fan, and you'll see it a little bit later this morning, of that sound off, video off, self-reflection. Because it allows people the time to think. We're working through some deep stuff with our coaching, aren't we? We're asking questions. We're asking people. We're not providing the answers. None of us as coaches, that's not our job. Our job is to allow that person to find their own answers. But we can't find it if we're sitting here talking at them all the time, or sharing PowerPoint, or clicking around, or distracting, or the dog's barking in the kennel, or the postman's coming. So we need to allow that time. So for me, those are two massive techniques. So that lovely video intro, and then the importance of sound off and camera off. And that answers that question for you folks about what you do with people who haven't got access, who've only got phones. Phone is brilliant for that, because you can still share activities, you can still discuss activities, you can give them the time to go away. You just don't speak and you put your phone down for a minute. But that practice of that quiet time is good. Tally, do you want to talk about how you use your worksheets and things when you're doing digital coaching?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that just because we're online and doing these coaching sessions digitally doesn't mean that we can't use the resources and the handouts that we would usually use in a in-person situation. So we're a big fan of worksheets, whether that's drawing or visual images, like Charlotte said. We just feel we get more engagement in giving them activities and say, this is an activity, we talk through it, explain what we want them to achieve from it, and then give them some time, so 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to go away, have that time to process and think on themselves. Or if they're in a group, put them in breakout rooms and have a group discussion around it, and then bring them all back into the session to then analyse and discuss what they achieved on that worksheet. And we found that the worksheets we're a big fan of them in like actual sessions, but online they're even better, because it gives you that time out and reflection time, which is really important to stop and reflect and process what you've learned so far.
Ruth, what anything your thoughts on that when people are saying, oh, what can I use? How can I do stuff? What do I do with people to get them talking? Because obviously if you turn up to a meeting and somebody's very slow to provide information, they're hard to kind of get them to open up. Have you got stuff that you think works very, very well?
Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember, it sort of seems emphasised when we're in a digital world, but adults and students alike, certain people struggle to, one, identify how they're feeling, and two, to communicate how they're feeling. So, and I'm one of those people that I don't consider myself being that articulate in getting my message across. But if I'm presented with a series of images, I can identify with something quite easily, and that can get me thinking. So there's one that you guys have used a lot, which is, I think there's 9 pictures of like the navigator, yeah, of like roads. So there's people like there's a car that's crashed into a lamppost. There's the winding road. There's my personal favourite. There's this little individual stood there, and she stood with her hands on her hips, and she's looking ahead at this road ahead. And for me, I can then identify with that person, and I see it within the people I work with. Of have a look at these images. What springs out to you? What can you identify with, and why? And in a group session, you tend to find you've still got all of the people that will be more vocal straight away, but it's nice because they lead and they showcase what they're feeling, and actually put the people that are a little bit more nervous, a bit more at ease with like, oh, I didn't think they'd think that. I think that as well. So then they'll start to share. And I think in a one-to-one, it's that exploration, isn't it? So I think visual, for me, that is the thing that can untap people who are struggling to, one, identify, and 2, articulate.
So I'm loving this. Leanne, absolutely, we love that. And I've seen it, everybody. Leanne has very kindly offered that if you email her, she will send you a copy of it, and do. And what we've loved, and we've used it ourselves, haven't we, the 3 of us, on how it's a check-in. Sometimes we haven't had words over the last year, have we, folks? And if we're honest, we've all had days of just checking in with ourselves. Where are we at? Do we want to have a Zoom meeting? No. Do we want to have a phone call? Yes, sometimes. Do we know how we're feeling? Not quite sure. But it's been a really lovely thing to say, do you know what? I'm that kid with my hands on the hips today because I'm determined. I'm fine today. Yeah, I'm good. That's me. Or I'm that person going, I've got a long, long way. And it's just been a really lovely tool to be able to articulate, like Ruth said, when we don't know where to start. So absolutely, these images, but I'm not just saying just that sheet, I'm saying any images. We've used so many reflective images this year, sometimes just to keep it on the screen, to have something rather than a face, rather than a Zoom screen, rather than this where you see all of us, just to have a picture and it just stays there has been so powerful. So we're actually going to ask you all, and we're going to do this. And I'm going to ask Ruth to lead you in. I'm conscious we're coming to the end of our session. Ruth, can you lead us through this next little practice, please? We've got about probably 3 or 4 minutes.
So interestingly, when we're normally in a group session, we've started off by saying to everybody we want them to be present and we want their cameras on, and we want them to interact. And we can't see you guys, so this is a little bit of imagine that you're now doing camera off. So put yourself into a quiet space. Certainly mute us for this exercise so that you've got that peace and quiet. And just take a little bit of time to reflect on what we've spoken about today and what you have learned today that you can implement into your own practice. So have there been any insightful pieces, light bulb moments that will be beneficial for you? So just for a couple of minutes, please turn your sound off. Cameras, I think, will be off. And when you've had that period of reflection, please do share in the chat things that hopefully you've learned that will make you more comfortable and maybe have been insightful that you can then implement into your practice.
So Tally and Ruth, I suggest that we turn ours off too for this few minutes. When you feel ready, start to come back, and we're going to come back into the group. I've just put the link for the Crowdcast into that. It's a wonderful community of careers coaches, individuals looking for work. You're very welcome to join us for those. You're very welcome to come and speak on one of those. It's an open community of online resources, career resources for people going through career transition. It's a whistle-stop tour this morning, folks. We are delivering a masterclass on the 29th of April. It'll be a 2-hour workshop where we're going to be really exploring some of these in full detail, talking about new techniques. Obviously, the digital world will have changed again in a month's time. We will make sure that we're current. We know which techniques, which platforms are using. We will talk there. We will actually do some worksheets together. You can bring your own worksheets and we can discuss how you can implement those. But it'll be a really, really in-depth session to that, so you know how to move forward with your own offering. I think that being able to market your own offering is really, really key. But how we start with that is, who are your target audience? Who are you working with, and where can you find the most relevant support to them? Which platform's going to be most support? And then think about what you do now currently and how you can implement that in a digital way. We will going to be also talking there through about then how to have conversations with people to explain what you're going to be happening. Because I think, at the moment there is so much, and we've all been so blessed, haven't we, this last year, of these online webinars, online support things, but how do we make sure that our offering stands out? So we will be exploring that further. But it leaves it from us to say thank you very, very much. Tally, Ruth, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we come up?
I've just seen a message come up about the idea of an intro video, but not sounding coherent, and it's much easier in writing. We've actually got a Parrot reader that sometimes I waffle otherwise, so literally write it down on a reader and I read it off the camera for our intro videos, because again, yeah, they need to be concise and to the point. So we've found that really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Good.
No, that's all good from me.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Absolutely lovely to see you. We look forward to the rest of the conference. Be fantastic. And obviously, make sure to make the opportunities to do the networking. It's been lovely seeing, people's thoughts on that, and seeing those relationships form as well. But if you'd like to get in touch with any of us, please do. Find us on LinkedIn, join our Crowdcast, and we look forward to getting to know you all better really soon.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Enjoy the rest of the conference. Bye.
Bye.